Thank you for joining us at xm.com for this Forex Preview video. We'll be having a look at U.S. data released this week. We have inflation data on Tuesday and retail sales out on Thursday. I'm Christina Marujos. Joining me today is Marios Hadjikyriacos, investment analyst. So, Marios, the consumer price index has risen in the last few releases. So have retail sales, even though to a smaller extent. So what are we expecting to see in the data this week?
Well, more of the same, I would say. So the CPI rate is expected to have risen a little, but that's probably owed to movements in oil prices because the core rate is forecast to have held steady. Now, as far as the risks surrounding these forecasts are concerned, I would argue there's a case to be made for an upside surprise in the CPI. I base that on the market services PMI survey for that month. It showed that service providers, service firms increased their prices at the fastest pace since February. So if there is going to be any major surprise in the CPI, I would say there's a better chance for it to be a positive one rather than a disappointment. Now, overall, the US economy is still in a pretty good place. The labor market is pretty solid. The inflation is running near the Fed's target, and at the same time, growth is also running at a very healthy clip, around 2%. So all of this has the markets thinking that the Fed will not cut rates over the coming months. The economy is doing fine. There's no need to stimulate it anymore. So I think that these releases will merely reaffirm this narrative. So the US economy remains in a good place. The Fed is not likely to act. We're on hold for the foreseeable future, at least.
And what about the dollar? Because we saw the greenback have an impressive rebound in the beginning of the year. Do you think the data released this week could reinforce that?
I do. So here's the thing about the greenback. We started the year with many predictions that it's going to be a year where we're going to see dollar weakness and so on. That hasn't panned out so far, and I don't really think it will. And the real argument is, where else outside of the US do you go? Europe is barely growing, interest rates are negative. A very similar situation is true in Japan. Emerging markets are very risky in such an unstable trade environment. So I don't really see that much real alternative to the US, which is still growing solidly. It still has higher interest rates than most other places. So I don't think we're going to see the greenback lose out this year. I think we're more likely to see it being stable, and we might see some mild gains. And I say mild because if we continue getting strong data, that merely reaffirms what the markets already think. The Fed is not going to cut, so we might see gains in the greenback, but I wouldn't expect any massive ones.
I see. Marios, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for watching this Forex Preview here at xm.com.